What is up, everybody? It's Matt Johnson. We are back with another episode of Real Estate Uncensored. This is the place where you get actionable ideas, insight, and inspiration to turn your real estate career into a life of freedom and become the rockstar agent in your market. And we're taking questions today. We're going to talk about Greg's new vehicle acquisition today, and we're going to talk about whatever else comes to mind. Unfortunately, we did have a fantastic guest lined up today who is going to talk to us all about LinkedIn and how to optimize our profiles and how to make high-value connections and really build our name on LinkedIn, kind of picking up where we left off last week with Tracy Enos. And unfortunately, we had some tech issues, which is why we're late going live today and we weren't able to get her on. So we will rebook her for the coming weeks, guys, because we've got a lot to learn still on LinkedIn. And guys, the show is sponsored by Get Now Business, where we actually delve into that more deeply in terms of how I've used LinkedIn and all that good stuff, but we'll get to that in a second. First of all, fresh off of his new vehicle acquisition, my co-partner and in all things crime related, including real estate, Greg McDaniel, what's up today?
What up, Johnson, man? Oh, my lordy. All of you guys that are listening to us on iTunes, my deepest apologies. I am going to show you something because it is very important. I'm going to show my wall where I've had my Jeep Grand Cherokee SRT8 white with red rotors. I have had it on my wall for 4+ years. Guys, as of this afternoon, I am the proud owner of the Jeep Grand Cherokee SRT8 2014. This has 450 horsepower, 0 to 60 in 4.4 seconds. It's a V8 Hemi. Thing is an absolute, land beast. If it was in the prehistoric era, it would have been a velociraptor. But here's my wall, guys, and I want to show you that Jeep right there has been on my wall. Matt's been in my office. That thing has been there for a good period of time, and so I want to make sure that you guys understand that dreams do come true. You can achieve things, and for all of you guys that are on this getting seasick every moment, here's the Mercedes S550 that I currently own and have for the last 3 years. It's unbelievable. I'm dating the woman that I wrote down 3.5 years ago. I just bought my Jeep. I've owned my Mercedes. And guys, I'm really excited for the other things that I have on my wall here. I have this. That's a $14 million home in San Diego. That's a $5.5 million yacht. Yes, that's the inside of it right there. Pretty pimp status. Lake house, my black lab, and my ski boat, guys. So here's this. Now that all of you need nausea pills, anti-nausea pills, but if you guys, if I can achieve these things by putting them there, you guys can achieve things by putting them and meditating and resonating them. Like our last guest on Monday, she crushed it. We went deep into this whole thing about setting goals, being intentional, visualizing, meditating on these things. They do come true. Now, did it come true right away? No. Took many years, many moons for those to appear into my life, but they appeared in my life exactly the way that I wrote them in my dream book. So I really want you guys to understand that this is a very powerful thing, and I've been ecstatic all day long about the fact that this is something that actually is real in my life, and I'm excited to see where things are going to go. Not even to mention the fact that doing a podcast on a weekly basis with a phenomenal co-host is something that I've been wanting to do, and giving back to the real estate community. Wait
a minute, are you doing a different podcast that I don't know about?
Yes, I am, Matt.
Oh, great.
Yeah, man, it's just been an epically beautiful, wonderful day, and incredible things are coming down the pipe.
Good. Glad to hear it, man. All right, well, we've got a lot we can talk about, but there was a real quick objection that I wanted to throw out to you here. Not about your life in general, although I have plenty to say about that. This is specific to real estate. This is off the lead gen scripts and objections, and it's from Kaliko James Fisher. It says, when they don't want to list the home, but they state that they will pay a commission to bring the buyer. Suggestions on how to answer this, Greg. What say you?
Well, it's difficult. A lot of the times when it's okay, this is how the grandmaster equates it. If you're going to sell a loaf of bread, but to keep the loaf of bread in the stock room, it's very hard to sell that loaf of bread. Okay. So if they don't want to list the home, and they want to sell it for the highest dollar, you need to get the most eyeballs possible on it. So, I mean, you have a decision there. I mean, you can keep it as a pocket listing as long as you get permission. You can market it as an off-market listing. I mean, Lily handles off-market listings all the time. She actually just sent my best friend Lonnie and his wife Kendall to a property in Oakland that was off-market for them to potentially buy. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, it's difficult, but it's not impossible. I would definitely start building the relationship with the seller and kind of show them why the value add is to put it on the market. But you need to also be very careful that you're not working for free, because if you don't have an exclusive listing agreement signed, that means Bob from Remax can swoop in and steal all that hard work you put in if you don't have an exclusive right to sell. I know that dick. I mean, that man.
Freaking Bob from Remax.
That dude. The atrocities.
Holy
Human trafficking and Bob from Remax.
Oh, good Lord. All right. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I think the natural reaction there is, and you can do this with just about any kind of objection, which is just really, that's like, okay, well, help me understand kind of why that is. Like, it sounds like either you've had maybe a negative experience with an agent in the past, or at least you're expecting to have one. Help me understand why that is. And that's not going to work every time. Sometimes you haven't built up enough rapport to ask that question to where they'll answer it honestly or give you the time. So it kind of depends on the scenario. In this particular case, like let's say it was an expired, like you may need to get in there and do something a bit tougher and more head-on aggressive than that. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't say specifically what the context is. But like if you're sitting there in the home and they can't just hang up on you, that's the type of question that I would ask, is just very calmly, like, oh, that's interesting. Like, okay, well, help me understand. You know, it sounds like you've had some sort of negative experience, or you think you're going to have a negative experience by putting it up on the market. Help me understand why that is, because it shouldn't be that. It shouldn't be a bad experience. I do like that analogy of the loaf of bread, like keeping it locked away in the stockroom. That's pretty good. As usual, your dad has incredible colloquial examples.
Yes, and I don't know where he usually makes shit up on the fly. We used to get so mad at him when we were kids, because my mom would always read to us at night. My dad would come in, be like, all right, kids, here's our book for the night. And we would know where we were, by the way, okay? Mom had just read this the night before. And he would start reading and go hard left, and all three of us simultaneously, Mom, Dad's not doing it right again. And so he has a very colorful memory, he has a very colorful imagination. I mean, he had 2 stuffed elephant heads, not real, stuffed, like not real. And it was Boom Boom and Bam Bam, and he would tell the stories of Boom Boom and Bam Bam. And so his analogies are epic in our household. Epic.
All right. Oh man, that must have been fun. Okay.
It was so much fun.
Huh. So our esteemed colleague Aaron Wittenstein himself,
the baldest of the bald,
has a question for the group as well. So, how much do you pay for professional photography on your listings? I'm especially curious about this for you, Greg.
I don't handle that side of the business. That's a steel trap question.
You literally have no idea.
It's like $400.
Okay, thank you.
But so what we get for about $450, somewhere in that ballpark. We get here, I'll show you. We get like really high gloss, nice flyers, pictures on the back with this whole thing. So we get like 100 or 200 of those. We get all the photos digital. We get a website dedicated to that home. We get a virtual tour with music that we can change and update and everything else. So we get a lot for the money, and our photographer just comes in and just blows through it. And for big properties, we'll pay more, but we get drone flyover video, drone photos, a lot of different things. So that's in the ballpark where we're paying. As much as we all think that we are just an absolute master of the iPhone because of its megapixel count, it's not the camera that's the problem, guys. It's you. Look, you don't know how to shoot photos at a professional level, I'm guessing. If you do, disregard everything I'm saying. But if you don't, and you went to one year in high school, freshman year on photo class, photography in freshman year, 9th grade is not going to work for your professional career. Don't be shaking your head. I see you guys shaking your head like, no, he's full of shit, man. No way, I get great photos.
What? I'm just going to go on Google Maps and use that. Did you see that post? Did you see that post, Greg? Somebody did that, and not the agent that did it, clearly. Somebody noticed it on their local MLS, took a screenshot of it and put it up into, I think it was Lead Gen Scripts, maybe it was another one, a different Facebook group. But yeah, that was a real thing. An agent used just the Google Maps drive-by, essentially, photo, screenshotted of the house as their main photo on the MLS. And we're not talking about, it was a lot of vacant land. This was a legit, like, 3-bed, 2-bath, 2-car garage with probably a legitimate commission in it for them. And they couldn't rustle up they couldn't even bring out their grandma's digital camera or their Polaroid out to the house. They couldn't be bothered to go take a photo of it themselves.
What a bag of dicks. I mean,
Yes.
honestly, I mean, because they probably marketed themselves, we're going to have a professional photos taken of the property. And you're like, click, I'm busy. But so the thing is that, you know what Lily did the other day? I was so impressed with her. I loved this idea. And this is using Google Maps. What she did, she went and took some photos of the property as like a preview. It wasn't professional, like a preview, like a teaser, right? And then what she did is she went and screenshot her iPhone with the location of the property in the San Mateo neighborhoods. Now, for me, what I liked about that a lot was that I don't have context to where that property is, because no matter where you take the photos, I don't know where that's going. But she did that, and I called her up. I'm like, babe, that's fantastic. Like, I actually know, I can get an idea of where that home is. Mm-hmm. So, guys, don't use the Google photo as your front photo on your flyers, but you can use the Google Maps, the screenshot of the location on kind of preemptive teaser stuff you put on Facebook or Instagram or something like that as like a, hey, come by and see me type of a thing. So, yeah, I can't believe they use the Google Maps thing. That's ridiculous.
Don't be disrespect. That guy. Don't. That's right. You heard it here first, guys. Don't be a bag of dicks. Don't do that. Okay. All right, speaking of not being a bag of dicks, don't miss out on Getting Out Business. Next month in November, we're starting a new format. Here's how it's going to go, guys. So first of all, the show is sponsored by Getting Out Business, and for a reason, because it is a very helpful, very simple 4-step marketing plan for you to reach the people that have a connection and a need for what you do, so that you can actually put commission in your pocket in the next 90 days. That's about, coincidentally, as of recording this episode, we're about 90 days from the end of this year. So that is exactly how long you have to get your butt in gear and finish the year strong. And so next month, we're switching to a little bit different format. All the content is pre-recorded. Greg and I are actually doing a full day of filming to get all the content laid down for you guys first. And then you'll get the content. You'll be able to go through it. And then our live sessions are going to be focused on coaching you through the process of actually implementing what you've already learned from the content, rather than delivering the content to you and trying to answer a few questions at the end of the session with, like literally sometimes we have 2.5 minutes to answer questions. It's not long enough for people to really apply that and decide what they're going to apply and what they're not, right? So what we're finding is better for us, rather than taking the entire hour teaching you, it's better for us to get the content into your hands, let you review it, then come to like a half-hour session and let's just talk about how to freaking do it, what to focus on, what to do first, and answer any questions that you have about actually getting it done. So that's the format that we're switching to, guys. So check it out in the coming weeks here. We'll have all the, we'll have the landing page updated and stuff like that. But just keep that in mind. Getting Out Business, that's the format for November. So check that out, gettingoutbusiness.com.
Oh my God, dude! Jessica's typing here in the comments. She saw the main picture, and the dog was taking a poop in the front yard the other day. That's even worse than the Google drive-by photos. Dog's just dropping a bomb. This is what I think of this property. New homeowners, come and take a look. It's a piece of shit.
That's right.
But you guys know the reason why we're changing the format is that we want it to be more sit-up content, not sit-back content. Now, what do I mean by that? Good question, Matt. I'm glad you asked me that. But the reason why we're doing this is that we want sit-back content is kind of just like when you watch the podcast right here, right? You're sitting back, maybe you're listening, maybe you're doing some cold calls or something, busy work around the office or driving down the road or whatever. But let's sit back. Sit up is engagement. We want engagement with our future classmates or students, I should say. When it comes to Getting Out Business, Matt and I are creating together a new program, which is really cool. And so we're going to be blending things, and we're going to Frankenstein the shit out of a couple of our programs. And so it'll be coming to you guys. So get ready for Sit Up Business, people. If you guys want to sit up and have fun with us, we got it coming for you. So, right. Matt, I see your eyes going back and forth vigorously. Looks like you were looking for another question.
I do, and I found one. So Susan Rippey says, what headset do you recommend for prospecting with a dialer?
So I use the GN Netcom. I will put for you guys, type in, Matt, as you go through, I will get the actual GN Netcom headset, and it's a wireless headset. It's up to 300 feet away from the base. So I literally walk all over the office with this thing. It's a GN 9125. That's funny. 9125 wireless headset. So Jabra GN 9125 wireless headset. I've been using this thing for years. All of you guys watching the podcast, now I'm putting it in the link in the chat box here. So that is the GN 9125 Jabra headset.
Yeah, and I've used Jabra headsets off and on through the years. In fact, I was just what was it, a couple months ago? I think it's over a month ago now. I was hanging out at Frank's place in San Diego, Frank from Viral Marketing, and I swiped his Jabra headset. It wasn't the 210. It wasn't a wireless one. It's a wired one with a built-in mute and volume into it. We had a best-selling author on the podcast that's done a bunch of podcast interviews, and he specifically commented after the show on how good the audio sounded on that Jabra. And I was in the backyard on Coronado. And just like, you got wind, and you got, like there's kids down the way, and there's dogs pooping in front yards, probably 30 yards away. And you couldn't hear or see or anything. So yeah, Jabras are really, really good. In fact, I need to pick another one of those up because as you can see, my headset crashed and burned, which is why I'm coming in through my computer audio today.
Yeah, I was wondering why you were doing that. I was like, what the heck is going on over there? Here's another one, guys, that is just the whole line of them. Are amazing, but this is a Blue Parrot headset. This thing, Matt, I think I've told you this a couple of times. I'm going to put the link in here for Blue Parrot as well. I was doing a McDaniel challenge, and I was amazed at, I thought he was just sitting in a quiet office, just, doing his thing, right? He was wearing a Blue Parrot headset. Guys, he was a truck driver driving down the road with the window open, and he sounded like he was in church. It was dead silent. It was so impressive. So if you guys are going to be out and about driving around syncing it to your cell phone or something like that, and you want people to not hear anything, I mean, you could have a screaming baby next to you, and this thing is not going to pick it up. So take a look at Blue Parrot as well. It's not going to win any sexy awards, but it is pretty friggin' awesome.
Very cool. All right, here's a really interesting kind of exchange, and I want to talk about the mindset behind this a little bit because this is interesting. So somebody put up a question just about your favorite script to get buyer appointments at an open house, and one of the respondents was, and I'm not going to mention him by name, said, while it certainly can happen, I find getting buyer clients from open houses pretty difficult. I think they come in with their defenses already up and aren't really open to anything you're saying. Greg,
okay, so what's the question?
Well, I want to talk about the mindset behind that. Have you ever heard somebody really have something negative to say? I've never really heard someone say something that negative about the ability to get buyer clients from open houses.
Well, I think what it comes down to, Matt, is the fact of the way he's approaching the people at the open houses. He's probably bombarding them at the moment they came into the house. It's kind of like, you're the dude at the bar and you see the hot chick and you go try to stick your tongue down her throat without even saying hi. It's like, I mean, that's not the best way to get her phone number and everything else, or at least have a relationship. Maybe even get married. It's probably not going to work out too well. Probably end up with some little bracelets by the local PD department for a sexual assault. So I think he's doing that to them mentally. I think he's attacking them mentally and scaring them away. And he might be too aggressive, too hungry, too forward without building any type of trust. And that can happen quickly. And they do come in with their guard up because they don't know you, like you, trust you. They know that you're going to try to sell them on something. But if you can break the barriers down, if you can if you can get them to laugh, you broke down the barrier. If you get them to share information where they're coming from, why they're moving, their timeline, kind of share what their journey looks like, you've broken down the barrier. If you're able to get them to talk openly about their past experiences, buying or selling, or if they've never done it and what they're concerned about going through the process, you've broken down the barrier. And that's where the art and the tact and it's a dance, really, Matt. Because when a man and a woman are dancing, right, there's an energy flow between the two of them. One's leading, one's following. One's leading, one is following at all times. That's the same way that the communication dance takes place at a broker's tour, on cold calls, doing door knocking, at networking events. It's a dance of energy of how's this thing going to roll? Are we in sync or are we out of sync when it comes to, where we want to end up? I mean, a good story for you on this one. I was doing an open house 2 or 3 years ago, and I knew it was going to be a huge open house. There's tons of people coming through it. It's a single level house in Danville in a place called Sycamore on a great street. I mean, dialed, all fixed up, the whole thing. And there's 2 couples came in, and they were kind of bouncing around. It was a hot day. They were super casual jeans and flip-flop, shorts and flip-flops and t-shirts and stuff. And one of them was a friend from out of town that was looking to buy, and the other one was just a neighbor. I was tempted to, right when I met them, hey, you guys working with someone? Hey, here's my card, right? But I decided to pull back, and I asked them, hey, guys, please look through the house, give me your thoughts on the backyard, love to get your opinion of the neighborhood, yada, yada. Well, because I was able to build that rapport and get them talking, I was able to then, at the appropriate time, ask them for their information and if I could stay up with them. We ended up helping them buy a house. Nice. But that's an example of doing the dance the appropriate way instead of just jumping, trying to stick your tongue down the chick's throat.
Well, and I think it goes back to they have a misunderstanding of what your purpose is, and maybe the agent does too, right? So the purpose of holding a house open, what are the odds of selling that house to someone that comes through that open house?
1 to 3%, extraordinarily low.
So if you, as the agent, know that, then you should understand that your job is not to sell that house. Your job is to treat everyone that comes in there as a buyer lead who's looking for a house. You know how to find a house. The open house is just where you meet them and strike up the conversation. And so if you know that going in, then you're going to approach it not like, hey, my job is to persuade them to love this house. Your job is to let them walk through it, decide whether they like it or not, and or on the off chance that they fall in love with that 1 out of 1,000 times, great. Then, give them some information right up the whatever. But 99 times out of 100, they're not going to love that house. So your job then becomes just to ask them, just get them talking, just strike up a conversation about what are you looking for. So, that's interesting. So you weren't crazy about the broken down jacuzzi on the back patio. So are you guys looking for someplace that's really more move-in ready where there's no work to be done? Oh yeah, totally. Well, great. Well, why is that? Do you guys both work full time? Yeah, we both, that's all it takes. Like one question, get them to open up. That's all it takes. Your job there is not to persuade them to love the home. It's impossible to do that. So I think that's one of the things where this agent might be getting wrong and causing people's defenses to come up is not about that house. It's about them. It's about their needs, and it's about doing a quick needs analysis. That's what proves your value. That's what's going to build the rapport and get them to trust you. Now, I did hear a quick tip. This is from Andy, one of my business partners over on Jeff Cohn's team at Elite Real Estate Systems. I love Andy's approach. When he was doing open houses, he would go in there and he would grab the listing sheets for 3 to 4 very similar homes within like a 2-mile drive. Right. So when a buyer would come through and inevitably the home that he was holding open wasn't quite right, he would say, great, well, I actually have the information on 3 or 4 homes that are right around here, just within 5 or 10 minutes that are very similar, but, a little bit different, same price range and all that good stuff. If you'd like, I can shut down the open home and I can meet you over there in about a half hour, an hour, and I can just, show you those other homes, right? And so he would actually flip that buyer lead into an active buyer client and start showing them homes all on the same day as the open house. And so I thought that was a really interesting, very, very effective strategy.
Yeah, I've always loved that idea. A lot of the times now, you don't have to get the buyer sheets. You can use your iPad, iPhone. You can have it digital if you want to, but maybe have preemptively potentially set up an opportunity to show at, let's say, 4:30, 4:45, after the 4 o'clock open house, in case you always have that straggler that comes in at 4 or 3:59 and begs to see the house. They're like, please let me see the house. And that person stays for another 20 minutes. So buffer in that time frame if you guys can. But usually those people then are the ones that are really actively looking. So they're a great person to pick up as a buyer. Matt, let's circle back here super quickly. Let's talk about the script so they don't become overbearing right off the beginning, and how you can
how to start off, how to meet them at an open house.
Sure. So you're the buyer, I'll be the agent. Okay, so guys, as I do it, I mean, I always have my open house sheet. I don't go hide in the kitchen. Don't be sitting down waiting for them to come to you. Be proactive and come to them. You're the greeter. You're the host or hostess of this open house. Treat it as such. Okay. So what I'll do is I hear the door. I mean, if no one's in the house, yeah, my ass is sitting down on the couch watching some sort of sports or on the phone or doing something. But as soon as you hear that door open,
and by sports he means the sound of music, which Greg carries with him on a dedicated DVD player at all times.
I actually
come on.
I did actually have to watch Sound of Music consistently as a kid because that's the only movie that my grandparents had at their house that my mom would let me watch. So I do have a respect and reverence for the Sound of Music. Never mind. Okay, so this is what you guys do at the open houses. You get there and you approach them with a big smile. Hey guys, how are you? As you're handing on the flyer like this, you're smiling, handing the flyer. Hey guys, my name is Greg McDaniel. I'm the host for the open house today. So let me ask you guys something. Here's the script. So let me ask you something, Matt. How did you guys find our open house today? Was it online? Was it the signs? And here's the clicker, the catch. Or did your agent send you? Now, you're doing something very easy with those three questions. You're identifying where your marketing is being best seen and best used, online or offline. You make a joke about no matter what happens. So, Matt, where did you see us? Was it online, on the signs, or did your agent send you?
It was the bus stop sign.
Low tech works again, right?
Okay.
Or it's like, oh, I saw you on Redfin. High tech, man, that's the up and comer right there. I'm glad you found it. Is that your favorite site? Yeah.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah.
So and then Matt. So how'd you hear about us? Was it the signs, the internet, or did your agent send you? Supposed to say your agent.
Oh, you want me to say my agent? Okay, yeah. Great. Greg, it was my agent who sent me.
Oh, okay. Who are you working with? I probably know
him. It's Bob at Remax.
That motherfucker. That was inside my head. That's great, man. You know what? Bob's a great agent. He'll take good care of you. Hey, walk through the house and let me know if you have any questions. Now, why I did that, I complimented Bob. If you really fucking hate Bob, just say, hey, you know what? I'm really glad that you have an agent you're working with. Don't have to compliment them. Just say you're glad they're working with an agent they like. Right. And if they're good, and if they like Bob, you probably know that they're douches and you don't want to work with them anyways. Kind of feel bad for Bob. But
Bob takes a beating in our conversations on a semi-regular basis. Poor Bob.
He really does.
For any real Bobs who work at Remax, we're sorry. We're not talking.
We're really sorry. We're really sorry. But then, so you compliment, hey, I'm really glad. Either if you know him and you like him, I'm really glad you're working with Matt Johnson. He's an excellent agent over there at Remax, and you have him give me a call if you have any questions. Don't like him, just glad you're working with someone. Now, leave that person alone. Do not spend time trying to romance, wine, and dine them. They are taken. Do not misunderstand that. Do not try to steal a client. But for the people that are from the signs and from the internet that aren't working with an agent, spend some time building a rapport with them, but don't try to make out with them the minute they walk through the house. And I don't mean physically make out with them. I mean try to take advantage of the situation and try to force your will on them when they're not ready to receive what you're offering. And so that's the script, guys. That's fantastic. Welcome to the open house. How did you find us today? Was it online? Was it the signs? Or did your agent send you? That should eliminate our gentleman who had the question, or gentle lady, whatever it was, on LGSL.
Gotcha. All right, guys. So we got a couple of funny comments. So Arne and Stefan are going back and forth, which is always entertaining for those of us who keep an eye on the Facebook comments.
Life explains a lot about his personal life.
That was a great comment. I love that. Thank you for that, Arne. That's so fantastic. Greg's dating advice explains so much about his personal life. It absolutely does. And I know I'm going to screw up the name, but please forgive me. Masapur I believe in Atlanta, says, as a matter of fact, I take the same approach. I have two types of reports, one for buyers who are not working with an agent, a much nicer one, and another for buyers who are working with an agent. Great. Fantastic. Stefan says, I also have the comps in the area as well, in addition to your open house sheet. Absolutely. He also says, Bus Stop Johnson, whatever that is. I don't know if I want to see a Bus Stop Johnson, but okay. Josh Bryan has a great question, though.
Bob sucks.
What if they're using the agent thing as a defense mechanism?
You can read through that really quickly, because what you do is you say, so Matt, tell me you're working with an agent.
Yeah. Yeah, Greg, my agent sent me here to the open house.
Oh, it's fantastic. Who are they? I probably know them.
It's that's all.
Exactly. They will know the name of the agent, because you immediately punk them back and be like, that's fantastic. I probably know them. Who are they? And you sit there with a big old smile. Who are they? Very creepy and weird.
That was super creepy and weird. I'm totally going to grab the screenshot of that, and that's going to be the screenshot for the episode.
But what it is, I mean, if they really don't want to talk to you, dude, maybe they're just having a bad day. Maybe they're just got a divorce notice. Maybe they just lost their job. Maybe something bad happened. They're not ready to admit yet. Just be professional. Give them your card. I'm here to help. Anything I can do to help you. Okay? That's how you get around that.
That's right. All right. Arne very accurately comments. It says, so creepy. I totally agree. Stefan says, how about when you have a buyer that is not reasonable with the price in the area? For example, if they want to buy in an area over 500K when they're only approved for 350, how do you bring them back down to earth?
It goes right back up to setting up the client control in the very, very beginning. And this is your initial conversation with them. Matt, Julie, your three obese little wood denting, insulin sucking little bastard babies. You know what? I am ecstatic to be working with you guys and help you buy your home. This is what we're going to do first, and this is why. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have you get with my lender, and I want to make sure that, you know, that we can make sure that we're staying in the affordability index that's comfortable for you, both on the monthly payments and on the purchase price. Because the worst thing I could do was take you out and show you homes that might be, you know, just that little bit above that comfort zone for you, because then you're gonna, you know, associate every home at that smidgen above that comfort level, and nothing that in that price point that's going to be in that area that you want to stay in is going to ever meet the finish levels, the locations, and everything else in that other home. So for, you know, your sanity, I would like you to talk with my lender, Casey. We'll figure out what the price is, and then we'll hit the road together and get you into a home. Is that correct? Is that okay with you? And so I told them, I didn't ask them, I told them what the process was going to be. And I said, this is what's going to happen. And again, I gave them a reason why this is going to happen this way. Because, Matt, if you and Julie and your little wood denting obese little babies, you know, if you, let's say in Stefan's case, let's say you wanted to, if you have a, beer budget but a champagne taste, and you can afford 350 but you want 500, well then, Stefan, what you need to do is value your time and maybe remove yourself from working with someone who's completely unrealistic. If they aren't going to be able to play by the game that they have put themselves in, you've got to work with people who are going to do it, because they will drive you all over the town, and they will drive you batty with writing offers and lowballing people, and that will affect your reputation becoming lowball Louie, because you can't do client control, and it all starts from the beginning. Matt?
I wholeheartedly agree. If you find yourself in that situation, do what I would do. Oh, well, first of all, in life, that's just good advice in life. Do what I would do. But specifically, do what I would do and shoulder roll through the nearest plate glass window and just go sprinting down the street away from them.
Like your hair's on fire, just run.
Mike Holbrook says, eat more kale. I'm not sure why, but I did have a nice salad yesterday, and it was quite delicious. Thank you, Mike, for that. I'll be sure to take your health advice from now on. We do have a really good kind of an inside baseball question for you on Mojo.
Sorry, Arne.
All right. Okay.
Arne, her whole office just turned around and looked and laughed at me. Stop calling his imaginary kids obese.
Yes, in case you're wondering, guys, Real Estate Uncensored, when you're in a real estate office, should always be listened to at maximum volume, at a quality set of surround sound speakers, so that everyone in the office can hear it. So Aram, I believe, is Aram or Aram, says, does Mojo filter out active listings when circle prospecting? That is a great question, Greg. Do you run into many where they're not filtered out?
No, what they do, no, Mojo does not filter out active listings. And your response on that is this. It's very, very easy. Matt picks up the phone. He tells me he's currently on the market. And my response is, oh my God, you are? That's fantastic. Tell me about your house. Maybe I didn't see it on the MLS. Play the dumb agent for half a second, guys. Give the guy the opportunity or gal the opportunity to have a win on this thing. All right. And like, oh, well, my house is a 4-bed, 3-bath on, half an acre, blah, 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 blah. Now, you can say if they're calling, if they, God, I can't talk. If the homeowner says, well, why haven't you showed my house? You can just say, well, you know what? That's a great, question. The reason why is just a little bit out of our price point. You said you're listed for $1.5 million. We can only afford 900. And they'll be like, oh, I couldn't take that. Yes, sir, I understand that. That's why I didn't show your house. But but you can always make up some spin on that. Or maybe you did show the house and you're just doing calls around it. You never know.
Yeah. All right, Bruce, it was funny that you were stumbling over your words at just that moment because Bruce had just literally commented, I just want to compliment both of you on your communication skills. Did my first seminar the other day and just stumbled over my words. Well, Bruce, first of all, thank you, but let me humbly suggest that we are just as horrible as everyone else is when we're starting out. I've been on the phones doing training and yada yada since I was 17 years old. So it's taken a while to build up communication skills. Greg, you've been in real estate for 18 plus years. And by the way, guys, before we even started a podcast, Greg and I spent about 7 months doing video for an hour every Friday that you guys never saw and will unfortunately never see the light of day in most cases, and laughed our butts off for every week for an hour for about 7 months before we even started a podcast. So believe me, we got our reps in. So if Bruce, if you just did your first seminar, dude,
Cool.
Number one, don't worry about it. Number two, understand that the audience is always, 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 always rooting for you to do well, because when you don't do well, it's super uncomfortable for them. So they want you to do well. Number three, there's nothing to be afraid of. All it is just you get in the gym and you do the reps, and public speaking is the exact same way. So Arne says,
Arne
thank
thinks
you,
that
Arne.
you're eloquent and literate, and I am. So Arne,
she said meh.
There you go, Arne. That's for me to use, sister.
Bruce, well, building on that, is there any resources you would recommend when it comes to communication? Yes.
Practice.
Yes. Besides that.
Toastmasters.
Yeah, Toastmasters is horrible. Don't do Toastmasters.
Toastmasters is wonderful. It's a great way to learn how to speak in public, guy. It's very, very easy.
Dude, if you listen, just watch anybody that comes out of Toastmasters, that when they actually get into real deal public speaking, either they have to unlearn what they learned or they look like a freaking robot, like with their hand motions and the walking around the stage and rehearsed movements is awful. Listen to podcasts and listen to the best. Go listen to Adam Carolla, Dr. Drew. Go listen to Mark Maron. Listen to the best. Listen to the guys that are quick on their feet, and listen to the pacing. Listen to Tim Ferriss. Listen to go listen to Legends and Losers. Frick, man, go listen to Christopher Lockhead on Legends and Losers, and just absorb that and listen to stuff like that over and over again. What that does for you is it starts to get into your subconscious, and it starts to help you communicate in a very focused and dense way. So most people, when they talk, if they don't have good communication skills, when most people talk, they end up saying a lot of words, but they don't communicate very much because they're using filler words, they're using filler phrases, they're saying, they're saying, they're saying, well, I would say that. Well, yeah, we get that you would say that. You're saying it. Just spit it out. Listening to podcasts like that will help train yourself out of that by listening to people that are doing it, and just do that over and over again. That combined with practice will make you much, much better.
Here's something easier than that, guys. I was invited by a very, very talented national speaker, 7-time book author, to the NSA, the National Speakers Association. You guys can go to this, and they run it for, I don't know, like maybe 4 to 6 months, every other Saturday, or one Saturday a month or something like that. And they will help you become a national grade speaker. And unlike real estate, they are the most collaborative, helpful, kind, nice group of people that want to see the other speakers actually really grow and become really good at what they do. So National, I'll put the link in here in the feed here. So National Speakers Association. Go take a look at them, or just type NSA or National Speakers Association. That's what I'd recommend.
All right. So Stefan says, Arnie would like to learn more about the Johnson. All right. So I thought about this the other day. So I have some old videos, and I mean like 7-year-old videos from a demo that I recorded in Kansas City where we did some cover songs. If anybody gives a good reaction, if you would like to see me post one of those on Facebook after the broadcast,
yes, yes,
comment yes right now.
Wait, is this the one we have long hair and chains?
Yeah.
Is it, guys,
this is in the full regalia.
Please, for the love of all that's holy and non-holy in this universe and planet, please post those. Oh my God.
Okay, so Adam Wallace says, while speaking, do you feel that when you make a mistake or stumble that it makes you more human and people actually connect with you? It depends. If you were an amateur and you're struggling with communicating in a dense way and people are getting bored with what you're saying because you're not communicating enough in a short enough amount of time, the more you stumble, the more you lose them. If you communicate in a very dense way, like people that are high drivers, dominant, like guys that are just bam, 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 bam. If you communicate a lot in a very compressed way, if you can get away with stumbling a little bit, like Greg, you're that way. You communicate a lot in a very in few words because you've learned to do that because you're on the phone, right? You've learned to do that because you have to communicate as much as possible before you lose people's interest. And when they lose interest, it's easy for them to just go click. They can't just walk out of your speaking engagement. So you communicate that way. And so when you communicate and you stumble over your words, it does make you more human and more endearing. It makes you sound less scripted.
Well, as long as you own it and you're like, whoops, tripped over my tongue, ladies and gentlemen. My apologies. Let's get back to that real quick. All right, what I was saying was blah, and you jump right back into it. You guys, any of you who've watched me do my calls, I mean, I screw up consistently, but I laugh at myself, brush it off, and keep moving. I mean, if you're really that nervous, practice a couple of times. Record yourself in the bathroom mirror. Watch your body motions, your hand gestures, your eye contact, how it moves around a room. You become more and more comfortable with seeing yourself, give the presentation. I mean, you can, of course, delete them and burn them, and never let them see the light of day. That's fine. This for you to grow. That's totally fine. I mean, nobody wants to see that anyways. I tell that to Matt all the time.
Nobody wants to see me anyway. Thanks, Greg. Love you too, buddy. So Bruce says, thanks greatly. What amazes me the most is listening to many agents and coaches is the enthusiasm behind their voices. And that's true. And that's something you can amp up and control. We were talking a little bit about, I was talking about this with Chris the other day, Chris Lockhead, and talking about you, Greg, just about how like when you're on the show, you're yourself, but you're an amped up version of yourself. And you're very used to doing that because you have to do that. Again, going back to the phones, if you were just the way that you are in person, that doesn't translate to the phone as well because they cannot see your body language. So you have to like inject more enthusiasm, more voice modulation when you're on the phone versus when you're in person. And you're very used to that. And guys, that's something that you can cultivate. One of the tips that I heard about a long time ago was putting a little mirror up in front of your desk where you're making calls and smile and look yourself in the eye when you're making the calls, just to remind yourself, because you do sound different. Like when you actually smile, when you make the facial muscles to smile. And I know I'm the last one that should be telling you this, but when you make the facial muscles to smile, you actually do sound different, and it changes your mood. So here's one of the things I noticed, that when I'm doing like my cold shower blast in the morning, it's no fun. But I realized that I was making it worse on myself by having that exact reaction. So you know what I do now?
You probably smile.
As soon as that cold water hits me, smile.
You singing show tunes in the shower, Matt? And singing in the rain.
That's right.
Actually didn't sound that half bad. I usually sound like I'm drowning a cat when I sing. I'm pretty proud of myself.
Yeah, it's nice. Oh, man.
Yeah, so okay. I mean, a lot of times, so keep in mind in your communication levels, you guys already all know this. 55% of your communication is your physical body, right? 38% is your tonality. 7% is your verbiage. So if you're worried about the right words, it's only fucking 7% of your communication. 38% is how ups and lows and ups and lows you can make it. You have to make it sing-songy. You have to make it bigger than life, because that's going to get people to laugh and get on board with you because they're enjoying what they're hearing. Okay? It's not like, hello, Matt. My name is Greg McDaniel. I'm a real estate agent here with Remax, California, and was wondering if you're like, hello. Oh, he must have hung up.
Yeah,
oh.
Exactly. That was a startlingly accurate reproduction.
And that's a reenactment of my first call with Matt, guys.
That was just about a play-for-play remake of our call from earlier today.
It was.
We're trying to work out the details for the speaking engagement next week in San Diego, and finally you're like, Matt, are you pissed at me? I'm like, no, what are you talking about? It's like, you just sound like, what did you say, Greg?
You sound like shit.
No, it wasn't that. It was like, you just sound like you're cranky or something. All I was just direct, and I was getting on you to like make a decision.
I was making a decision, you dick. I was already, the decision had been made. I'm going to do the panel and then the speaking gig with you in San Diego. We're just like, Greg, yes, you can. You can make a decision. You can say no. You can say no. No, it's up to you though. I'm like, no shit, it's up to me, and I'm going. Now, are you having a bad day, Bubba? You need a hug?
No, I just don't want to hear you bitch and moan about having to get up at 4 a.m. to go to the airport to make a speaking engagement that you don't necessarily have to do because we're already there to speak the next day.
I'm going to call you at 4, 4:15, 4:30, 4:45. I'm going to call you on the minute every 15 minutes.
And you know what's going to happen, Greg? The same thing that happens most of the rest of the time you call me. It goes straight to voicemail.
Suck a dick.
All right, Stefan says the more no's will make you a better caller. Absolutely true. Speaking of that, go for no. The co-author Andrea Waltz is on the show this Friday. And do you know how I booked her, Greg? How did I find her?
I've heard the story many times because you like to tell the story. And it's off of LinkedIn, who we would have been able to get deeper on that today. Unfortunately, our tech went through the floor. But yeah, guys, LinkedIn, I revolt against LinkedIn, just so you know. It's like Twitter to me. I'm Twitter retarded. I'm LinkedIn retarded. But you know what? I need to learn more about it, and that's why I love having these guests on, because I am literally taking notes on stuff on how to use LinkedIn more effectively and efficiently. But yeah, I mean, Matt, you just reached out, guessed her email, sent her an email. She watched one of our shows, loved it, and said, yeah, I'm coming on. Yeah, I mean, so Matt, let's use that in a real life scenario. How could someone reach out to someone who they think is above them in maybe a social standing, economic class, success levels? I mean, how can they reach out to them and get a response?
This is a great question because I literally just answered this for a viewer today. So Brandon Runyon messaged me today. He's just getting started. He's hitting the ground running. He's working with some investors, but he's having trouble connecting with the real deal guys, the guys that have money to pull the trigger on the deals that he's finding. So he's like, I really could use some help. So here's what I told him. I said, as a new agent with investors, your primary value is your willingness to learn and deeply understand what deals they're looking for and hunt them down. Investors want something they can give an immediate thumbs up or thumbs down to. That's the same for any high-powered entrepreneur. If I were in your position, I would start a local business podcast or a video series that gives you a reason to reach out to the top guys. Short of that, I would appoint myself the official digital journalist of real estate investing in my area, and then I would reach out to the top guys and offer to pitch them to national real estate podcasts and local radio shows for free to build my network. And Greg, if a young, enterprising anybody, agent or otherwise, called you up or emailed you and said, hey, Greg, I really admire what you're doing. You seem to be out there on social media a lot, but I don't see you on X, Y, and Z. Would you mind if I took it upon myself to pitch you at no charge just to help build my network? I would love to help connect you with some national podcasts and local radio shows to get you more exposure. What would you say to that pitch?
There is absolutely nothing I would argue with that. I actually had that happen to me. God, the show is full of coincidences. Was it Jenny that asked me that? Yeah, Jenny Dawson. She hit me up and says, where she's on an interview on her show and a couple other shows. She says, Greg, and this is how she led in. I'm actually back. So, she basically says, hey, look, would you be opposed to getting a lot of social media coverage and likes and follows and SEO? And I'm like, no. She's like, good. That's exactly what happens. I'm like, what happens? What are we doing? But yeah, no, I would be ecstatic if someone said that to me. And I was totally honored. I felt very honored that someone had thought of me. I mean, when Playster, thought of me to have me come on their summit that they're launching. By the way, guys, go to Playster and get a hold of that summit. I'll copy a link into this, but it is going to be a lot of good people on that. I'm not tooting my own horn. I'm just saying, like, a lot of the people that are on this are epically awesome, like great speakers.
Very cool.
So yeah, we'll put that in there.
All right, guys. Well, we gotta wrap things up. Make sure to check out getnowbusiness.com. Make sure to follow us. Do not friend us on Facebook. Make sure to follow us. Make sure the notifications are turned on so you know when the show goes live. As you can see, we love to interact with you guys on the show, answer questions, joke around with you guys. We love to see the live interaction here on Facebook, guys. So if you're listening to this after the fact, if you're, let's say you're subscribed on iTunes or Stitcher, YouTube, whatever, make sure to connect. Go to Greg's personal profile, Greg McDaniel and Danville. Make sure to connect and follow him. That way you can interact and engage with the show live, because as you can see, we have a ton of fun with you guys and love interacting while we're actually live on the show. Mm-hmm. Greg, anything else that you want to say to cap this episode off?
Yeah, you guys are always fun. We truly love it. Go to nurture.playster.com. That's PLACESTER for all you fellow dyslexics. Nurture.playster.com. Get your free e-ticket for the summit. I think it's going to launch in a couple of days. And if there's anything I can do to help you guys, please let us know. Guys, do us a massive, huge, gigantic favor. Go to iTunes, please, and give us a 5-star review. The more 5-star reviews we get, the more people are going to hear about this, the more people can take advantage of the knowledge, not be, gang raped in the shower by other coaches and large trainers by their prices. Matt just shot me a weird look because we believe in
very visceral example.
Well, that's what happens. But you guys, share this stuff out with other people who either need it or are going to need it. And we're looking for any connections to any real estate training schools that you may be associated with. We want to see if we can get this podcast in front of their people so that those people will have a raving review of that school and then come back to them for re-up training. So, guys, please continue to think of us, spread the word about the show. We do it because we love you, and we do it for you. So, guys, on that note, as always, peace out, ninjas. We gone.